Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
You guys sick of Christmas films yet? Or are you thirsty for more?
We're thirsty for more, Paul. We've not even started.
I know. It's there to think of a quote to start the...
Don't get me started.
Well, this is a pretty good episode I think we've got lined up because we're not covering not one, but two films that hopefully a lot of people already, are
If
festive favourites.
I don't know where they've been all their lives.
Or particularly the first one, more specifically, which is Home Alone, and I was going to be talking about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would like to preface that you already kind of did an episode on Home Alone 1 with Fiona from Film Vloggers a while back.
Yeah, I did. So definitely go check that out and see if I say the same things or contradict myself in this one. I highly doubt I will, because to be fair, I love Home Alone, so watching 1 and 2 is no different for me. I know you have preferences, and
We'll get into, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting, especially as well. I think mine and Fiona's will have been a bit more vibey of how brilliant it is. So we'll see what you bring to this, Paul.
Okay, yeah. I did listen back, actually, prior to recording to this, and it's like you both got good points on things. I think that you've touched on a lot of things that I hope, obviously, you probably bring into this as well, but on a different spin, I suppose.
I'm sure it's a couple of years ago, so God knows
yeah.
what I remember I said.
Actually, Sophie, you said this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember. I don't remember it. Well, everything, but yeah.
To be fair, I don't remember half the stuff I say on this podcast.
Same, sometimes. Yeah, did I say that really?
Yeah.
So with this, it's kind of going to be a sort of jump around really angle to it. It's not going to be like, oh, beat for beat. It's kind of more of like a comparison between the two, because truth be told, there are kind of similarities between 1 and 2, and it's kind of like, oh, which does it better kind of thing, or
both do it equally the same, Paul, because without 1 you wouldn't have 2.
Yeah, although a lot of people will say, well, you don't need 2.
No, you do.
Well, I agree with that, but
it's when you don't need 3 or 4 or 5th or whatever other number it gets to, then that's when you don't need it.
Yeah. No, true. So where do you want to start with? The opening shot with the house, which is pretty much the same in both films. It's like exact establishing shot of the McAllisters.
Oh, houses. Wouldn't you love to live in that house? I mean, well, I say that, and then I say, if I were on my own, no, I'd be absolutely petrified being home alone in that house, because there's so many rooms that anyone, and as this film shows you, could enter your house, basically. And that bit scares me. And I think that's the thing that would put me off the house. But the actual grandeur of the house, the land they've got, and how Christmassy it looks, just with that shot with all the lights in the windows and all on the trees and the bushes and everything, it's stunning.
Yeah, just the fact that both of them have the families rushing around, because like that I would do my head in a little bit. Like, oh,
there's too many people.
Even with a house that size, it's just. Oh.
I feel like Christmas at that point, like we don't have that much of a big family. And still, I get to a point where I'm like, my social battery's drained. I'm done.
Yeah.
And the fact that I would be Kevin, I'd be getting really pissy with people. Like, I just want a cheese pizza. Like, that's not a lot to ask for. Like, everyone else has ordered their pizza. I put my order in. Why is everyone stuffing my pizza? I'd be the same. I'd be getting sent up to the attic for being a little madam for not having my cheese pizza. I get his gripe. Like, there's too many of you. And why is it always them having to host it? Because they've got such a big house, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, you've got the uncle who's
Uncle Frank, yeah.
Who's a skinflint, like, don't put his hand in his pocket, his tight ass. Never really generous or anything like that.
He's a character you kind of love to hate, really.
Yeah.
Purposely, yeah.
He does it so well. And you've got, obviously, the little brother of Kevin. Well, not brother, but actual...
blood relative, actually in real life, yeah. It's Kieran Culkin. is his brother, yeah, in real life. And he plays Fuller in this.
And he always pees the bed and drinks too much soda and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin's like, I don't want to be with him, and gets a bit stroppy when he's like having to spend and share his space, basically.
Which, I don't know if you've really twigged on this. The fact that I don't know how old Fuller's supposed to be, but if he's the youngest of like Frank and I forget obviously his wife's name, it's like like they've even at like how maybe it's say like I don't know 6 years ago or something, say that that Uncle Frank and thing of
had a
not
baby.
boots and it's like yeah. Like, really?
This is meant to be a Christmas special, Paul.
I don't know. Yeah, I just couldn't.
I don't even feel like they're like age appropriate at that point. Like, I don't know.
What
they
do you
look
mean?
a lot older than they should do to have a 6-year-old child.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
just thought she'd maybe be going through the menopause.
Maybe, maybe he just looks older than Uncle Frank looks older than he is, but I don't know.
I think he must have just had clearly a hard life. Money, you look a lot younger. If you've got lots of money, you don't have the worry, so you look a lot younger, I feel.
Perhaps, yeah.
It's true. There's some truth in that.
Yeah.
So we always have the pizza guy knocking over the statue. That happens every time. Everyone just doesn't seem to see that statue. Like, if that were my house and it kept on getting knocked over, I'd be chucking it. I'd be getting so annoyed. It's like, how can you not see it? It even happens in Home Alone 2 when the driver comes.
Well, it's the same with, the airport pickup as well happens in that as well, yeah. It's like, I don't know, it's like, that joke's not... It wasn't funny the first time, really. But
I'd have chucked it.
Yeah.
You did say, and let's just get into the nitty-gritty now. Kevin is he 9?
No, 8 years old.
8 years old in the film.
Yeah.
For Home Alone 1.
Yeah.
And then in Home Alone 2, which is meant to be a year on, he is somehow 10.
Yeah.
So he's aged twice in 1 year.
Yeah, somehow he's some kind of...
And I was like, just don't ruin it, Paul, for me. Just stop it. Like...
I just, no, because I went back on when we were watching Home Alone 2, and it's like, I'm sure he said he was 10 years old, but isn't this supposed to be a year on from, because obviously, like, multiple times, like, oh, you got your wish last year, maybe it'll happen again.
Do you know what I think it is they've just said, just say how old you are in that, and I'm wondering if it's taken 2 years for this film to be released out.
Yeah.
And Kevin's just, bless him, little old Kevin said, he is 10, so he said he's 10.
Yeah. So they've just kept it in, but, like, I don't know, for consistency, like, yeah.
Only if you were watching them both like us and reviewing them would that be a matter. Like, it really, to me, it.
But I wonder if anybody else has picked up on that, like watching this or not. So.
I googled it, and in the script he should be 9, so they haven't done it wrong.
Yeah.
I think if something's gone wrong when filming the actual script, yes, he should be 9 years old. But however, for whatever reason, he says he's 10.
Yeah, but I just meant if anybody else who's watched the film going, hang on a minute.
Well, I've seen it on the internet because I googled it and the people were saying the same thing as you were.
So,
There's only certain types of people, Paul.
So with this, also, it's obviously like, there's always something like kerfuffle that goes on. That in the first film, it's he pushes buttons and he knocks over all the liquids on the countertop, and that's how he gets his ticket lost. In a thing, because obviously, like, for his check-in boarding pass, gets thrown in the bin with all the stuff accidentally. So that's how he's like, it's not getting counted at the airport for that to happen. And
I still don't know how you could forget your own son. I know you've got like 4 children or 5 in total, but still, you would assume your son were there even if you don't have a ticket for him.
Yeah, but
you wonder where Kevin was.
You did say when you were talking with Fiona that, like, oh, why leave it to one of the siblings to check, but.
Also, the boy was in the head.
That annoying kid. Like, how much gas does this get? Is this good mileage and all that
true,
kind of stuff? But
still, it should be the ownership on the parents. They should know.
Because she went, she did say, did you check everybody? Yeah, everyone's accounted for. So
I still want to double check. I would.
Like, Kevin, are you there? Yeah. No.
Like, do a register or something. Especially in Home Alone 2. Like, that should be like in the car. They should be going, right, have we? Oh, no, they do have him, don't they?
She goes this time, like, where's... Because she physically got the passes this time to go, where's Kevin? And then he goes, oh, I'm here at the front. And, so... But it's obviously because of the fact of it's 45 minutes to get to the airport and check in out. No chance.
No.
I know they're rich, but they're not like that, even...
Also, they should be holding the children's hands in an airport if they're going to be running that fast. Some children can't run that fast compared to an adult. You know, it's common sense, isn't it, to hold your child's hand while you're dragging them across the airport, basically. How legitimate it is for ever leaving your child on home alone. But it's a brilliant film in overall, so I can't complain. But still,
if you go through the nitpicking of absolutely everything, you won't get very far. You'll be like, it just took the fun out of it. But I know, obviously, so in a realistic sense, like, no way on this earth you were getting through.
No.
To the plane.
If only.
Yeah.
So, obviously, in Home Alone 1, he gets the kerfuffle of the pizza, and that's why he gets sent up to the attic.
Yeah.
In Home Alone 2, it's because Buzz has ruined his solo when he's singing in the nativity, and Buzz is pretending to like hold the candles and
behind his ears, which is everyone's like rip-roaringly laughing about. It's
they're
like
all grown-up adults. Kevin's doing a bloody good job. Why is it that Buzz is like he's hilarious? It's like, it's not even that funny.
No.
And then poor Kevin yet again, because he won't apologise to Buzz because we know what all Buzz is like.
Yeah.
So Kevin gets sent to the room again.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you always have this, we've done it again. The alarms have gone off, or there's a storm. Literally, it was the same storm.
No, it wasn't the same storm. It was fair enough. The storm affected it the first time, and that's like legitimate reason the power's gone off. The second time it was because he plugged in, like took the plug out. The one clock in the house that had the alarm on for some reason. No, in this big house, no other clocks exist.
It did flash though. Showing...
Yeah, it went back to 12 o'clock. Like it does when you plug it back in. So it wasn't the correct time. So the alarm must have just gone reset or something.
But also, it did show the evening scene again. Like it flashed towards a scene where like it was looking windy outside.
I think that's more.
Made me think there was a storm.
A wish was coming true, but it was like that was to show the fact that the bandits have escaped because like a piece of paper flies on on against the window or something, and that's to sort of signify they're coming back because they're broken out of jail, and that's all that was. It wasn't anything to do with electricity this time. It was just a simple. I've unplugged it and.
But anyone else could have put an alarm on.
Exactly. There's
like
no other clocks.
The uncle, you know.
Because he says that, you guys are so terrible at this, kind of like giving the wake-up calls. Like, come on.
But to be fair, I'd be absolutely frantic in both occasions trying to get there. It'd be awful. It'd be my worst nightmare. But you know what I'm like? I'm very organised. I like to know. I'd be setting off an hour beforehand. This would never occur.
Yeah.
Well, unless there was a power cut. But then nowadays you've got your phone, so if it's fully charged, you don't have this issue, do you?
Exactly. Yeah, very rarely people have plug-in clocks anymore, so yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
So we get to a point of where in Home Alone 1, Kevin is now realising, I've made my family disappear. Yeah. And he's embracing that and loving life. And I think everyone, for quite a bit of time, enjoys being on their own home alone. It's quite nice. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You can watch whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. You can play as loud music and nobody's going to complain. Like he says, Uncle Frank, I'm watching like the movies I should be watching. Yeah, and eating junk.
Bad stuff, yeah.
And he's fully embracing that. In number 2, you don't get that until a little bit later because like he gets on the plane going, that grey coat or
the brown coat.
Camel coat is my dad. No way would that fly now. It'd be like, well, we need to check and actually you speak
didn't go
to your
like,
dad.
Hey dad or anything and didn't turn around or it's just like, there he is and
fine, get on and sit down, and he ends up in New York basically. So obviously number 1 it's a little bit easy because you're in your home comforts, you know where you live, whereas number 2 it's a bit more daunting. You're in a completely different city you've never been to before without your family. Like I don't know if I'd want to even go to New York by myself. I'd want to go with you, but I wouldn't want to be on my own in New York. That sounds vastly scary.
Yeah. But I think you'd be fine as an adult, but as a young child, it's like, I don't even think you're making it seem like, it's a piece of piss just getting a taxi and that's all great. Yeah, just go see, Statue of Liberty.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's not. It'd be scary. It would be as scary as, and New York is not the friendliest of places, is it? People don't smile. Sorry, New Yorkers. But that's what I've heard anyways, is a cliche. You like, you don't want to bump into somebody.
I'm walking here.
Yeah.
Yeah. that kind of stuff. I would mention, I thought, just for my sake of saying so, the fact when he obviously realizes, oh, he's at home alone initially in the first one, and because it's so quiet, and then there's that unintentional jump scare because it cuts to the plane engine like so loud. It's like every time it's kind of like a bit like if you weren't paying attention, it's just really quiet, and then suddenly this blaring noise comes. It's like
it has caught me a couple of times before prior to this when I've watched it, and it just like, and you're like, what's happened? Why am I jumping? I shouldn't be. It's a cozy Christmas film, and I think with Home Alone, just in general, both of them, 1 and 2, it's one of those I just don't get bored of very easily. Like, I know it line for line. I know exactly when things are coming up and what to anticipate, but still, I'd watch it every year without fail of being bored. It's one of those stakeholder ones where you're like, yeah, it's not an every other year one. It is every year that deserves to be watched, and just shows how much of a classic that is.
I'll say, I guess you watched this, or both, maybe, or one more than the other, I don't know, but for a very young age, or just said you would. Whereas, I don't know as to when I first saw Home Alone.
I feel like I introduced you to 2, definitely.
Yeah, you definitely did, because I thought, I don't know, it's kind of like, what's the point kind of thing, a bit like, of a sequel of like, it's going to be rubbish, but to him, it's kind of far from it, really. With that, so yeah, it's quite late to come into that one, and I think probably saw bits here, or again a bit like you with certain films. Like I kind of know of Home Alone, seeing clips of it, and not seeing it all the way through for a while until I was much older. I can't remember when, early teens maybe or something like that. But
that surprises me because I feel like the comedy would be up your mum and dad's street. Actually, I feel like your dad would laugh at this because it can be a little bit extreme.
I don't know if they've seen it, to be honest.
Like your little coconut men that go on
Monty
the horse.
Python.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know, it can be exaggerated humour, but it works really well, which is surprising for me because I normally hate humour, but this is done tastefully. And I think because it's got the innocence of an inner child of Kevin, it works well.
Yeah. Would you think, obviously, for how he is, it's not like, he's not like a groundbreaking performance, but like, for what he offers as like a light-hearted film, he does all right, doesn't he?
Yeah. The only thing is when he's shocked, it's like so over-exaggerated. But he's only really young when he's acting, so you can't really fault him. It's like Harry Potter in the first one, like all of them are shocking.
Well, it's like, and it's the same director as well. From Chris Columbus, who did the first one anyway, yeah.
And you've got the little babies of Harry Potter people, and it's they're not going to be fully acting, pros at that age. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. So, obviously, in Home Alone number 1, sees that he's basically, I put down that he watches The Grinch, that he finds Buzz's girlfriend and he goes, woof, and that always makes me laugh. Yeah. And then obviously the Keep the Change, You Filthy Animal, which is when he's watching... Yeah, I looked that up, and it's not an actual film. It's a movie within a movie, basically. So it's made for this film specifically, but it also was reused in Detective Pikachu, weirdly. Mm-hmm. It is.
I think they missed a trick there, though, when they did it in that Detective Pikachu, where they should have said, instead of snakes, it should be Ekans, but...
I like that. Yeah.
But anyway, that's by the by. And
you should have written it.
Yeah, it's interesting that they used a film that doesn't exist in that. Maybe it's just like a fair property to use rather than something that was for that other sort of a detective noir type of thing, pretty too expensive. So, but honestly, I actually love it if these films were actually like existed in reality. Yeah,
I know what you mean, because in number 2 we've got the scene that he uses with the "I love you," and it's the same guy saying, I'll give you the count of 1, 2, 3 to get your yellow ugly butt out of here.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of showing how Kevin as a character is growing and developing, I guess, throughout 1 and 2 a little bit. The way that he uses the films, but also his savviness and creativeness in number 2, I feel like levels up because he has to. He's not got his comforts and everything around him. He has to be more inventive with how he...
And I would say that works a lot stronger in that sense, on that factor of number 2, to utilise that a bit. Whereas don't get me wrong, in number one it works, but in both anyway, it's like how on earth you would be able to play, rewind, and stop it at the certain points to get the dialogue correct, because with a VHS tape it's very noisy to rewind and play and do like, oh no, it's the wrong part.
I feel like that would be, if you were doing that, you'd be effing and jeffing him in the middle and it wouldn't work for you.
Yeah.
Because you were like getting really annoyed because you'd gone too far.
Yeah. Right, that line doesn't make sense. No, wait.
But overall, I think, if they were real films, I'd watch them because I really like LA Noir kind of...
That kind of like
vibes.
Old gangster films, yeah.
Yeah. So when the burglars come in number one, the first time they come over, they initially at the scene are trying to like suss the house out. And first of all, like, why are they not shooing him away? Like, I'd be like, how did you get in? Like the policeman when he's dressed up. Why hadn't anyone dealt with him earlier or prior?
Oh yeah.
And basically he's just looking to see when they're leaving, when can I burgle you, basically. And then they come the night of and going, right, okay, we're going to go burgle the house that they've been wanting to burgle forever. And it's a clever thing. And I think my mum's always said this to me, like, if you're ever scared, illuminate your house. Yeah. Because that's going to put somebody off wanting to burgle you. If
they think you're in,
you're in, or he's visible or she's visible to you, basically, because you can see them as well as them seeing you.
Yeah.
So Kevin, being sensible, goes and turns every single light on in the house, basically, to like warn them off. And they're like, oh, I thought you said they'd gone.
Yeah.
Whereas in number two, he doesn't really have that security because he's just in the middle of the street when they find him.
Yeah. He does. And
I do love that scene, though, of self-awareness of being in public. Like, if a child screams, the adults are going to look
exactly.
in the wrong.
It works a lot better in that sense when he's doing the kind of like scream of terror. It's like, stranger danger type of element to it, isn't it? So, especially New York, thinking like, what the hell's going on? Like, someone's going to pick up on that. Yeah. But he's still running away in that one. But that's so difficult because we're obviously jumping around so much. It's like trying to think of all the things we've got to say. But to the screaming factor, like where he does one of those instances in the first one, Kevin does, where he comes across Old Man Marley in...
Marley.
And because he's like, I'm not afraid anymore when he goes outside, and then the old man comes along with his shovel and the things like, and then he just screams in his face and runs inside, and the old man doesn't do anything. And then there's he runs up the stairs and does the scream, scared look at the camera, like breaking the fourth wall a little bit, and then hides under the bed or whatever. But I know there's obviously no one around for that, but I think that seems strange, and the fact that the old man doesn't do anything he doesn't help his case, really, does it?
Because I think if he went after him, that would make Kevin scared even.
No,
even
but he
more,
could go hello or something.
No, he was already running. There'd be no point.
Yeah. No, not when he approached him before he even screamed like, "Oh, how are you doing, Kevin? You all right?"
I think that still would have been the same situation because of what Buzz had said. He'd got it in his head that he was a bad person. But also, Kevin gets scared of the boiler. Yeah. Which, to be fair, is quite scary, like that
Yeah, it looks mechanical, monstrous, yeah.
Yeah.
You build up monsters, and that's how
you could... Well, even nowadays you can. It's just even scary because some of them are real.
But in that sense of going through it, it's when he goes down to the basement to, because he needs to, wash clothes and all that kind of stuff. That
he's a little adult, really. To say, like, he was fretting over packing his suitcase. And now he's having to look after the entire house, get groceries.
It's weird, isn't it? Because he's like, I've never done that before, but yet now he's having to.
Yeah. It shows if you don't have anyone, you can do it, and you can push yourself out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's just more of a convenience that he has to do that stuff, as opposed to when the first thing he's like, I don't know what to do anything, kind of thing. But like the fact that him going into the basement anyway is kind of shown, like the fact that, like, how he does that setup for deterring Harry and Marv when when those guys come. I'll be ready, and he's all the little mannequins and stuff that he has rigged up. Yeah. Which I don't know how long he was standing there doing that with the wires and stuff.
Oh, I know.
Because it's not like really. I don't think it's a specific time when they were coming that evening, but other than the fact maybe when it was just dark, he started get that record spinning and
blaring the music like it was a party. Yeah. But it is a really clever shot, and it's kind of showing that it's busy and hustle and bustle, and
Mm-hmm.
they obviously don't enter the house
Yes.
again, so he's doing a good job in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in number 2, I think it's more...
That's a bit more unrealistic, because when he goes to the hotel and he's gonna clobbered by the housekeeping from Tim Curry, who's, you know, obviously sneaking in because he's like, he doesn't trust the kid and everything. Kevin manages to blow up that inflatable clown thing, so he put in the shower.
You can tell it's inflatable as well when you look at
it.
it.
I know, it's like really just...
And the nose as well.
I know. Yeah, it's just, yeah. There's no way he managed to blow that up, put the strings around him, and, you know, and that...
Unless he already had it blown up.
Yeah, but why though would he have it?
Why not? You're a child. You don't... There's no questions when you're a child.
Yeah. So, unless it was just the off chance that someone was going to knock on the...
Maybe he had that thought prior.
Yeah, and that mic recorder that he had was like super good quality.
Mm-hmm. And it was exactly where he'd recorded it. Like, he hadn't recorded anything else, which he had because he'd done previously the telephone call, trying to get the actual
the booking for the hotel, and everything. So it's like, I don't know how much space was on that tape to do all that, but it's just amazing, isn't it? Like, it's not like from your phone you've got loads of recordings and there you can just do that stuff. But
I think as well, obviously with Marv and Harry, they do tell the whole street basically when they're going to come back to the house, like, we're going to come back at 9 o'clock and I've been scammed by a kindergarten. Then that's when Kevin's like, he really does actually kind of appreciate the fact that his family's gone missing and he wants his mum and family back. So I wrote down, which I feel like Fiona would be quite proud of me, because I feel like I brought more to this than I did hers, bless her, because it's just watching it over and over and over again. But so when Kevin comes up with a plan, like a master plan, they've got 2 different names of it. So it's got battle plan for saving the house for number 1, and then it gets quite creative with number 2, which is Operation Ho Ho Ho. So like his little paper posters that he writes out are more creative. But we've also forgot, when we spoke about the old man, you need to then go to number 2 to say that the old man's representation in that is the bird lady. I don't know her name.
No, I don't. I can't remember if she really says it, or...
I feel like she doesn't, because she is homeless.
And with her character, anyway, it's kind of more justified why she doesn't like necessarily speak to Kevin when she approaches him or sees him or anything. She facts in and says like, oh, she doesn't really spoken to anyone in like a couple of years, basically. So that works better in that situation in 2, whereas in 1 with the old man, it's like, he's his neighbour. Why has he never ever spoken to him?
I guess because he's quite young, and what Buzz has said has built monsters up in the head. And depending on if he's been with children or not, it's like if his mum's just walking out with him, the mum might say hello and Kevin's not really involved in that. But I think you've got the 2 kind of sub stories within the films. So obviously the old man, he's on his own. He's not seeing his like extended family, so his son doesn't want to talk to him anymore.
They had a fight, and that's the reason why he's
and then
come across the way he's like lonely and
and he can only see his granddaughter on certain days when his son's not around. And then you've got the bird lady in number 2, which is, she was made homeless. I think she was in a relationship. She did love somebody.
So the man she loved fell out of love with her, and that's you ended up in the streets. So that's kind of like it's quite more of a sad story. And
she makes me cry. I know Mum, bless her, she cries at both, and like the old man does get to her as well. But I think number 2, definitely, with it being Christmas time, homeless in New York, it just feels a little bit more like this.
It hits hard, but for me, not it's like I haven't got a heart or anything, but I don't really find myself like whelming up at either of them. But I can definitely see more merit in showcasing how sweet the ending is for the bird lady. Her story arc really with everything. And how that's more touching than the old man. Not to say like, he gets to see his granddaughter at the end because he's made amends with his son and everything, but it's kind of that's just very brief. Nothing's said, but obviously sometimes picture's worth 1,000 words. So
it still has that closing shot of Kevin waving, like kind of in the snow, and then you always have this end bit right at the end where somebody yells something. Basically, you've got that in 1 and 2, where Buzz yells like, "My room, Kevin!" And then obviously at the end of 2, it's his dad
with the room service bill.
So you've got those kind of, literally, it's kind of mirroring each other all the way throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right with the bird lady, the sentiment with the 2 turtle doves, and her having a friend for life, and kind of Kevin does a lot for her in this film.
Yes.
And actually helps her come out of her shell, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So the bit that we haven't compared yet
Yeah.
is the main event with Mav
What
and
you were
Harry.
pretty much here for when you come for these films. Now, I think, personally, I don't know about you, but it seems to take a lot longer to get to his battle plan. Obviously, where he's confronting the
Battle plan of saving their house.
yeah.
It's a bit long-winded compared to Operation Ho Ho Ho.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, I'd not say filler, but like you're not. I'm not too bothered about the family kind of stuff. I know obviously you got to have that to break the film up, because it'd just be boring if you're just all focusing on Kevin.
I guess what you're trying to say there is, like, in number 1, there is a lot of back and forth of how the family feels, how the mum is, how she's trying to travel and get back home.
Yeah, her
Whereas
desperation and all that. Yeah,
you don't see that as much in number 2. You kind of get a bit, but it's not as long.
No.
And it kind of gets to a point of where there's a couple of scenarios with this as well, because it's not just like Kevin's saving his house anymore. He's wrecked his auntie and uncle's house, pretty much, but the whole purpose is to save this Toy Story's money because it's going to go to the children's hospice.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a bigger purpose.
And also, he's in the second one, he's located at the hotel as well, so he's going to...
Yeah, so there's a lot more locations, a lot more things going on.
But you got to go bigger with that anyway, because that's...
Go big or go home, as you would say.
Yeah.
But can we just give credit to Marv and Harry
Mm-hmm.
for the amount of impeccable acting to... Obviously, they don't do the stunts, but all of that in total. It's fantastic. And I know sometimes you look at it and one point when, like, you can tell it's a green screen, or like they bumped into the wall and you can hear the thud of...
I don't think it wouldn't be a green screen. It'd just be the fact of it just being like a prop.
And like you even said, like, oh, Kevin's grown an inch when he's...
Obviously that's the stunt man doing that when he's sliding across to the treehouse.
But you have to appreciate the edge of the film as well, like...
But
for it.
You look closely at things and you say, that's not the person, but yeah.
But if you don't do that and you take it with a pinch of salt and the lightheartedness that this film is meant to give you, I feel like it's fantastic. It's just so much fun. You can watch it several times and you still know what's coming, and you still like crucifying and feeling like the pain of Marv and Harry. Now, I always get confused with which one's which, even though I've watched it so many times.
Okay.
So Marv is the tall one.
Yes, yeah.
Cool. And Harry's the short, fat one.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he was that fat, but just dumpy.
Well, compared to Marv, he is.
But it's, the typical, but I say that you said it, I covered it in the review, but it was like perfect casting of them both, like one small, one tall, to counteract.
And you've got Marv, which is the brain. No, you've got Harry, which is the brains, and Marv, which is
the
like...
lackey who just goes along with it, all that kind of stuff. I think in the first one, I don't know who gets it worse, really, but...
Marv, 100%. So he gets, if I remember correctly, so when he's entering it in, he's got the ice, and he's slipping and sliding all over the place, trying to get through the basement.
Basement, yeah.
So what else does he get?
He gets...
The tar.
He's walking up the steps, gets a nail in the foot.
Yep. Then he falls back and hits himself, so there's that.
He also gets the iron on the head.
Iron on the head.
At the first instance, yeah.
Yep. Whereas you've got Harry that gets... He just get a burn, like, on
his
the
hand.
door.
Yeah, that's more permanent.
So it is more painful, but I feel like Marv gets a lot more injuries, but I feel like maybe Harry gets the more painful ones. And then obviously he opens the door, he gets the fire
on his head,
and burning, and he's screaming, which is just fantastic the way he does it. But in Home Alone 2, he creases you over on this one.
Yeah. So, we'll come back to that. I think it just makes some more sense to go through all the things in this. But
then you've got Marv, who goes up the steps and then somehow falls back down. So then he has to go through another way to get in, and because
go through the window. Yeah.
So goes through the window with the ornaments, which always is like, oh, why don't you just look down? Just look down. It's not hard. And also, we have to just give credit to Harry with his.
Yeah, because normally he's purposely like, because he's very known for like being very sweary and stuff like Goodfellas and Casino and stuff like that. So he's had to like tone it down to just like mutter and mumble kind of stuff.
It's hilarious,
Yes.
and you know exactly like what he's meant to be saying.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like, and it just for an adult, it kind of gives that humour that's needed. But like a little innocent child,
Yeah.
it'd go over their head.
Yeah, because even stupid stuff like, like initially when Kevin shoots the gun through the dog cat flap, whatever, and shoots him the balls, and it's like, you can feel that.
Marv gets it in the head though.
I know, but I was speaking as a man. It's a lot more painful being shot in the dick.
But from then Harry gets the chicken one, which is like,
I don't know what that serves a purpose for. It's just a slight annoyance. It's like,
I think that's the innocence, because to be fair, a child like
that's the most childlike, as opposed to the blooming blowtorch above the
yeah.
door.
And that weird thing that he puts on the door, like I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair enough on that part. Also, then when they both get in, they've got the cars like on the floor, so the toys, and they both go.
So typical like slapstick, whoa, slip, kind of thing, and then
brilliant.
The paint pots flying down the stairs.
But yet again, Harry never gets hit
with the paint pots.
I think the last one. So I think it gets.
Yeah, no, I think they purposely get hit on.
But Marv gets hit more than Harry does. Oh, is that the second? That's the second.
No,
isn't it?
second one. Yeah.
No.
With the paint pots, or
yeah, no.
Or just in general.
With the paint pots, he gets hit. Does Marv than Harry? In the second one, they've wised up and gone, oh, pretend to run up, and they both just get hit with the massive iron rod.
Yeah, pole. Yeah. But,
yeah.
And I think there's other things like the trip wire, so that he runs upstairs and try to get him. Then it's like, oh, I've got him, Harry, and then conveniently the tarantula that's been knocked out and buzzes from the glass cabinet, Buzz's room when he got the money to pay for all the food and stuff. He's just on the step right there, and I'll just put it onto it, and Marv does that over the top scream.
Which is fantastic. It really is. And then obviously it's on Harry, and he's going, Harry, like that, and he's like, Harry. He gets the crowbar.
I think that's in the second one.
Is that in the second one?
Yeah, he does that voice, and it makes more sense.
But he hits him with the crowbar
on the chest, on the fake plastic spider.
Yeah, you can totally tell it's a fake plastic spider. But then,
which I don't really know why, because
you don't want to hit it and hurt it.
Yeah, no, but he does hit it, and then the spider jumps off. Because if it would make more sense if it was just to make it look like it was a plastic one jumping off, as opposed to
because the spider jumping off does look like it hobbles. Like I don't know if
I
feel
think
like
so.
It looks like it's hobbling. So I'm wondering if they
tried
I'm
to surprised that you're being concerned for a big hairy spider, but there we are.
It's got a full body and a skeleton, probably, hasn't it? I assume. Then from that,
then they get to the tree house.
Yeah.
And the wire thing, and Kevin cuts the rope and goes into the building, and then he runs over to another house
and that's when they're like trying to oh, come chase me, and they're like, Harry's like, no, this is what the kids wanted the entire time. Yeah. We're not going to chase them. We're going to go a different way and catch him off guard, which they do. But you get your friendly shovel man.
Neighborhood shovel man, yeah. Saving him, because otherwise, he would have been toast at that point.
Yeah. But then it ends with, thanks, Harry. Marv goes, we're the wet bandits, and, oh, well, the police are like, thanks for saying that, because now we know
every single place you've hit up, so.
Yeah. Just all of that, it is quite, I think, like the half an hour at the back end is like the jam-packed, like, action bit. You've got to wait quite a bit of time to get that.
Yeah.
But it is worth it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah, more or less, for that, really. But it just feels like it goes by too quick, in a sense. I don't know.
I think for me, the way we spoke about it as well, it's like it's literally just like boom, 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 boom. Whereas in Home Alone 2, I feel like it is more spaced out. It's like what an action film would be.
Yeah, no, it just definitely goes on for longer, which I do appreciate, because obviously you have bits beforehand, obviously, because like running away from them in the city initially when they first meet him and all that kind of stuff. But we'll just focus now more on the back end when he catches them at the Duncan's toy chest and knocks them like, oh, and there's nobody around, and knock, knock, knock. And it's like, hello.
Yeah.
Throws a brick, runs off, and just that first unrealistic fact of like, oh, put that seesaw thing.
Yeah.
Harry goes flying and he smashes that car that's like, you must weigh as much as an elephant or something, because there's no way.
Even the sound effect is amazing as well, to be fair.
That car smashed like to that extent, but I don't know what the car was made of, but yeah. Anyway.
Oh, how heavy he is.
And then as we get from there, it's like when he gets into the place where he needs to be at his Uncle Rob's house. He was doing the renovating stuff, so he's got all this, booby traps for the thing, because it's already a decrepit house anyway. So he encounters them, it's like, oh, throws the camera down that he's taking a picture of, and it's like, oh, here you go, and it's like throwing the bricks down, and that's where.
And every time poor Marv gets the brick.
Yeah, and it's like from that height as well. Yeah, like you definitely have got brain damage from the get-go, but then there's an onslaught of all the other stuff that happens. And
I've also forgotten number one. Don't Marv get like electrocuted at one point?
No, that's 2.
Is that 2?
That's 2.
Merges for me.
But no. This is why I like 2 better, because there's a lot more humorous.
Marv should be dead.
Yeah, he should. He was well and truly dead, because, like, say, part of that, he gets electrocuted, and you can just see, like, almost like his eyes almost like going bloodshot for the fact of that. I know, obviously, in an unrealistic sense, you see like a skeleton version of him, but it's like, I take that as it is. But like, again, like almost like a Looney Tunes cartoon element to it. But
so basically, after Marv gets several bricks in the head, and I think Harry
goes around the back, which I don't know how. Obviously, I'm not like. How would you know with those kind of like New York
burglars?
Like, oh, that's number, I don't know, say number 16 or whatever, like, oh, right, go round.
What I love is, like, if anyone tried us, we've only got one entrance, so, like, we wouldn't be able to do much of a Home Alone stunt at our house, would we?
No.
Sadly not.
No.
So which way does...
He goes to, Marv goes to the front he just
door.
pulls the door, and that's where he gets the staple gun through his, like, nuts and his bum, and, all that kind of stuff. It's all painful.
And Harry gets the slime gunk on the ladder.
Yep.
And somehow gets back up and gets in.
He ends up going through the door with moves the rubbish out of the way to get up the steps and everything.
Yeah.
And so he's then also like cautious about like turning the lights on and thinking like with all that, and also doing the tapping the thing, which I and stuff is like I do like with the kettle. Sometimes see how hot it is if it's boiled, and I always think of Harry doing that. like it's okay. But my favourite part, which on contrast to the first film with the fire element, it always
every single time creases you, and it probably gets me then, because I'm like looking at you like because near enough tears in your eyes.
Because the first film, it was like an immediate reaction to the fire, like setting fire to his head, whereas this one, he's just like like looking on like, what's that burning? Or what's that burning sensation I can feel? And then he kind of like turns around, look in the mirror. It's like, oh, my head's on fire. It's like, how do you not know? That's the
maybe it's numb from previously, like so you don't feel it. So some of the nerves have died off.
But it's just so funny, just like this way, like.
But then the toilet. It's the way that he gets rid of it, because it's like obviously it's an old decrepit house, so it's not like there's any water or anything to extinguish him quite quickly. So he
sticks in the toilet.
But the way he does it, he's like doing a handstand.
Acrobatics.
And then isn't it some form of alcohol or
will be
gasoline or something
just to blow him up?
Yeah, he should be dead.
He should be singed.
Yeah.
But that's like my favourite part of and another funny one with revolving fire is when they're climbing down from the roof and the rope that's soaked in kerosene. It's like, why would anybody soak a rope full of that? And then you just cut together and like lighting a match.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Merry Christmas, and it's like that's more like sadistic than the first. And a lot of these acts in this are a bit more like
maliciously done,
psycho killer.
Yeah, I think that's probably because of prior how they've treated him. So he's like he wants to hurt them, and they're saying they want to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, I need to protect myself and defend myself. You've also got the up in the attic where they get to that like chest
Oh yeah.
toolbox coming
Come down
down.
the stairs. Like, I don't know if it's super plausible, but yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think it'd get stuck halfway. It wouldn't
Yeah,
go all the way
perfect
down.
place, stand vertical as it. So, yeah.
And then
Whatever.
you've got the stacking of the furniture as well in 1 and 2, where they're kind of stacking furniture to get out up the hall, or
No, that's just the
is it
second
just
one.
the second
There's
one?
no stacking of furniture in the first one.
I think it's the ladder bit that's making me think of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So stacking it up, and then obviously the paint comes into it as well beforehand.
Yeah, there's more like paint pots and stuff. Just more like a lot of things like falling on Marv or whatever. Those like cement bags and stuff and all that kind of stuff. Just a lot more pain inducing. Really.
But to be fair, for Harry, I only think I can remember is the toilet thing for him, like the pain that he gets compared to Marv's character.
He seems to get
it gets a lot more.
Well, yeah.
And apart from him, Harry getting the car and crushing the car and being a bit on the
seahorse.
and
getting knocked back with the metal pole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And the rope with the gasoline, like you said. So then from there on, obviously, Kevin is
runs to Central Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
And gets the assist from Pigeon Lady.
Bird Lady. But I guess she was mainly pigeons. But
yeah.
He's already got a plan of going into Central Park, ringing the police, and setting fireworks off. However, I think they get there a little bit quicker than he anticipates, so the Bird Lady needs to chip in because they've got hold of him, got the camera, and they've got the gun at him, but she chucks bird seed all over him.
Which she does earlier, so it kind of shows they'll come if, so for that. And then Marv does another scream. It's like almost like a horror scene, like the birds are like eating at him. He looks like he's being pecked. The skin's being pecked off.
The film The Birds,
yeah. Something like from that, just more.
Also, the sticky bandits in this instead of the wet bandits, so they've...
Well, it's Marv's silly little thing, with that.
And they don't really get away with the money or anything, basically, from the toy store.
No.
And Kevin's helped the toy man store saying, I'm sorry I broke your window.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've got insurance. And then is obviously just so they get put in prison again, and they're like, "Oh, we've missed out on Christmas dinner and Christmas presents."
Yeah,
they sound gutted because they've not actually benefited.
Well, it's only Marv with his innocence in all these situations, and Harry's like,
Marv.
"Shut up, Marv."
I feel like Marv's me and you're Harry. We're going to be burglars. You're the brains, and I'm just the sheer sweet innocence.
Obviously, get the reuniting with mother and son in both occasions, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for Kate in the first one, obviously had to hitch a ride with John Candy's polka group. So she gets at home at the same time as practically the rest of the family because she was impatient, I guess. But I get a sensibility of trying to get home to someone as quickly as possible. But it's that thing is like, oh, do I wait around or what do you think you're trying to do? But it's like, unrealistic to get flights and stuff. I don't know why she couldn't rent a car though or something. I'm sure that must have been plausible.
Probably, but she'd have got there at the same time she did now.
Yeah,
so
I know,
but the time, isn't it, of it?
Yeah.
I think she wanted to do everything as quickly as possible, but obviously the capacity wasn't there.
I don't know. Obviously, it's quite a way to.
Yeah, it's not like us where it's a couple of hours and we'll be back. You can travel within the USA, can't you, on planes?
Yeah.
More like Europe than it is.
Yeah, true. And with the second one, it's she finds him at Rockefeller Center with the Christmas tree, which is again that's more of like a convenience sake because obviously the first one is always going to be in his home, isn't he?
Yeah.
But just happens to be.
I think it's good because she knew at the beginning it did set that in her mind, why
Christmas
are we going to Florida when the palm trees are not Christmas trees? So she's like, oh, I know if my son, if he'll be fine and he'd be better than coping in New York than I would. And then she dawns where he would be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then pretty much they have a lovely Christmas in the hotel because they're really apologetic for the fact that they scared Kevin away.
Yeah,
which
I know we haven't really touched upon all that stuff because I like Tim Curry and that is he's so great. There's many shots in that in the way pronouncing pizza. And have a lovely day.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And then
even the butler, when he's like, tip, and he's like this,
Yeah.
and then he gets chewing gum, and the next
Yeah.
time he's going to get tipped, he's like, oh, no, you're okay, and it's a
Yeah,
50.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Well, no, I know we definitely haven't covered any films with Rob Schneider in, but that is who that is, and he's normally a friend of Adam Sandler.
Well, I can tolerate him in this. I'm
Yeah.
not complimenting
Yeah.
him anymore now.
Yeah.
You've ruined it for me.
So yeah, he's not. Yeah, in his other films, he's not particularly great. It's that sort of level of comedy, but yeah, he's all right in this.
He is, and also if you really hate politics and a former president, then you might not want to watch number 2 either.
Yeah, that's not a selling point for this film. Just the fact that Trump makes an appearance, but
it's a very young Trump, to be fair. Like if you,
yeah, no, it's. I'm trying to think. Like there probably would be some way to cut him out, because obviously Kevin asks for where's the reception desk or whatever, or sort of where's the phone. I forget what he says exactly, but he's like down the hall thing. It's like
it's really not necessary. It's like it's just been added in because he used the hotel.
If you want to use my hotel, I've got to have a cameo of some kind, and the slight plausibility of the fact that see Duncan knows where they're staying to give him all the presents for the family on Christmas Eve night for the Christmas day, and it's like, right, okay, and I don't know, I'll just give him a load of toys.
But like Santa knows where the people.
Yes, I know.
So
to a child,
he's somewhat Santa.
Is that what you think? Is that the theory that he's actually?
Okay. Yeah, because Kevin knows that Santa Claus isn't the real Santa's in number 1. Where he goes to the
but he thinks that it's just because you're just helping out, so it's still the naivety of
into Santa, and then he got some crappy little Tic Tacs, which makes me laugh because he shakes the tub, and there's only 3 in it, and it's like you might as well just give him in the box.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's so much whirling around in my head still, but I think is there anything else?
Let's have a look.
Is there anything else you want to bring up? Because I think there's so many good bits on all accounts, and it's like trying to think have we covered everything?
Oh, there's a Spanish version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, I did forget that. And obviously, when they went to Paris in the first one, there was and then there's the Spanish version. They're watching in Florida hotel for some reason. I don't know.
And it's peeing it down as well in Florida.
Yeah, funny.
There was one line that I wrote down about the bird lady where she says everybody wants to be seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with her being homeless and such, it kind of shows when you've not got anything to show for, you kind of be more reclusive. And I think that she does really touch me in this one. She's a lot more kind-hearted, and you feel for her, and you feel like she has a good ending, but I feel like I'd want even better ending knowing that she was alright, that peace of mind, she was off the streets and everything.
Yeah, I know, but it's somewhat realistic in the fact, well, to an extent, because Kevin gives her the other turtle doves that Duncan said you can take anything from the tree over there, and so one for a thing and someone you'll never forget. So it's quite a nice, sweet gesture, really.
Another part where what I've written down was in number 2 was a line from Marv and Harry is oh, your parents can get you a tombstone for Christmas because they're going to kill him. And that kind of does make me chuckle. It gets a bit more sinister and nasty. Whereas before it's we just want to burgle him, but now it's we've got a vendetta because they've been in prison for 9 months. Yeah,
well, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's got to. But I think it's just the more frustration with it all, really, which I totally understand.
Getting chopped by a little 10 or 9-year-old, whatever you want to think he is.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note, we'll go to scores, I suppose.
Me?
Yeah, you go this time.
So I probably feel more touched and more sentiment around number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really think number 2 gives you that cosy kind of feeling. It gives you the value of Christmas a little bit better than number 1 does.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going to score them the same.
Okay.
And it's just a no-brainer. It's a 10 for both. The classics, the ones that you put on every year, I'd put 1 and 2. It depends on how I feel, depends on which one I prefer. If I'm wanting that cosy Christmas vibe of being kind of more sentimental, I'd probably say number 2. Whereas if I'm wanting just a cosy Christmas laugh, it'd be more number 1, just because it's more crammed in and more naive. whereas I think number 2 is a little bit more sinister and a bit more edgy in a sense.
Mm.
But overall, I feel like I love both. I've grown up with both. I feel like if I have a child, I'd let them grow up with this.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be one is better than the other, which I know you're looking at me like, you already have it. I know your favourite anyway, so you already have one. But I think solid 10 out of 10 for both. And I hope that you're not going to score number 1 too lowly.
Oh, no, not really. No. I don't think I can give it top marks. Like, as good as they are, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic things, and they generally are things that we watch every.
It needs to be a high
year.
score, because normally you score Christmas low.
Yeah. No,
so we had 6 last week, so
no, don't worry. Yeah, so I'm gonna put. I was thinking like, I think they're both the same, but
I know you prefer 2.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm gonna go 9 for Home Alone 1, and 9.5.
Oh, come on! I thought we were going to get a 10 out of you then.
Yeah. For Home Alone 2.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah. Because for holiday films, they are fantastic, and yeah, admittedly, we do watch them every year without. It's like it's been like a thing now. It's like we put one on, and then ultimately we end at some point putting up on 2, even if it's like to do like a double bill type of thing, all that kind of stuff. But I've got to score it a little bit higher for 2, because I know I came late to it, but maybe that's why I kind of like appreciate more the sort of like say darker tone, and just the more the comedic effects that it offers, with not just obviously all the pranks and things that they have with the bandits at the end of it, which has a lot more going for it, and it's just feels like a big Looney Tunes cartoon. Also, like what happens at the hotel with Tim Curry's the concierge and all that kind of stuff, and the way he tricks them with the tape, and like the "I love you" and all that kind of stuff, and all that kind of humorous stuff. It just so because that offers more of that in that than it does than the first one. I think that's why it's a bit higher. But I don't know what would make it a 10. But I think it's just. I hope you just sort of like happy with the fact that rating it that high. But because I haven't grown up with them as such. Really, I think
that's probably it. And also, I love number 2 a little bit more just because I remember introducing you to it.
Yeah.
So number 2 reminds me more of you, I guess. And
but you put them fairly on equal plane.
Yeah. The only reason why I'd probably score it a little bit higher at number 2 would be for more your value.
Yeah, sure.
Than actually me watching both, and maybe the Bird Lady. But then it depends on what I'm going for.
No, I get you. Yeah, absolutely. They both have the merits, and obviously they do have the low points as well. Like, I mean, 2 is obviously not perfect in some of the implausibilities of stuff, but I kind of gloss over that a little bit. It just more the atmosphere of the scene, like New York and stuff. So it looks pretty amazing as opposed to the sort of like Christmas period.
Be fantastic.
Yeah. Right. Well, hope you enjoyed listening to our thoughts, and hope you sort of maybe agree with what we think of them. I don't know.
I think you should just all now go watch Home Alone after we've told you all about it, and you're really excited to just put it back on and think, oh yeah, Sophie and Paul are so right. Nice. It's a classic.
And maybe give number 2 another chance, or if you
watch it if you haven't. Yeah.
But yeah, do reach out to us and let us know what you think. But thank you very much for listening to our episode. And if you would like to listen to some of our other episodes, you can do so by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get podcasts from. And also be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
And if you want to follow us for more Christmas cheer, then why the hell not? So if you do want to look at some Christmassy stuff, if we actually are good at posting it this year, then you can follow us on social media. TikTok, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, all those jazz. Then you can follow us under the handle SP_filmviewers, all the same handle for each social media. And you can give us a like, follow, subscribe, and leave us some Christmas messages.
And now we move on to the Patreons.
So next week is our Patreon Christmas pick. So sadly, if you wanted to be a Patreon, you're going to miss that one, but you can start in the new year. So what you do is you get to pick a film, which Paul kind of picks 2 films. You get to vote and pick a film from once a month, and you get a shout out every single episode. And it's only the little small amount of £1 or $1.50 a month. So it's not even like it's, £1 a week. It's like literally a month. So that's like 25p a week.
That's right. And we're going to shout out our members of the Patreon family thus far.
Okie dokie. So we've got Alex, wedding bells are literally here. So they'll literally, when this airs, they'll be getting married.
That weekend.
That Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you're wanting to support and give them all wish and love and good luck for the wedding day, then please do. So Alex is on Instagram under the handle Desperately Seeking username. And Shani is also on Instagram under SDOG.
Yay, you did it right.
Woo! It's a wedding gift for him.
Yeah. Getting it right.
Been practicing.
We've also got our friend Jones, who is under the handle @WeightLossJonesy on Instagram, and his partner Emma, who is under the handle M_Hayton on Instagram.
We've then got my wonderful mum, and we've also got your close friend Gren, who is on Instagram under CGren_draw.
And last but not least, we've got our podcast friends, who are Nico from the Good, the Bad, the Weird podcast, Mark from 100 Things We Learned from Film, and Ben and Fiona, nod to the episode you did with them, from Film Vloggers. Yeah, very good podcasts, and it was still good to listen back to that episode. And even though it wasn't Ben, but it's funny the fact that you're doing the is the mic set up and like the levels all right and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh yeah, kind of miss like hearing that kind of like stuff.
Well, me and Fiona are not like you and Ben. That's probably you don't get that endearment from me when me and Fiona aren't there. To be fair. And his quirkiness is the way we get so excited and passionate about something. And you're like, yeah, it's a film, it will good, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap. I'm getting a bit sad because these are going really quickly. We're already halfway there and it's going to be soon Christmas.
Yep, we've got good things lined up for these couple of episodes coming, and retrospective at the end of the year as well. That's what I'm looking forward to as well.
Try and remember what we've watched and what's actually stayed in my brain, yeah.
yeah. So, be on the lookout for that in the future. Thank you very much for listening once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.